Alright, so in the last video for section 2.4, we were discussing slope. And so the last problem we had looked at was 5, -3, -2, -3, and we were trying to find the slope. And so we had filled in the y values up top. So we said -3 minus -3 is -3 plus 3. And then we said 5 minus -2 becomes 5 plus 2. This thing gives us 0/7, which is 0. Alright, and so according to this piece of information here, the slope of a horizontal line is 0. So since this slope is 0, I can conclude that this is a horizontal line. These are some points from a horizontal line. Alright, and we also discussed up here on number 2 that when I have y equals a constant, that it's a horizontal line, and all the y values are the same. And so the equation would just be y equals whatever the y values are. So if we come back down here and look, alright, the slope is 0, which means a horizontal line. And if we look at the y values, alright, we can note that they are the same. And so I could write the equation y equals -3. Alright, so if I have any of this information, alright, if I know that the slope is 0, I know I have a horizontal line. And if I know any of the points from that line, I can write the equation of that line. If I know the equation is y equals a constant, I know it's a horizontal line, and automatically I know its slope is 0. So we can use the information interchangeably, and we from time to time may need to do that. Alright, looking at the next page. Alright, so we talked about on the front page that there are different forms of the equation, and we looked at standard form ax plus by equals c. Here. Alright, there is another form called slope-intercept form, and that simply is written as y equals mx plus b. Remember we said m in math is understood to be the slope, and then this b is always going to be, and it's a constant, there's no letter associated with it, it's just a number, a constant. It's the y-intercept, hence the name slope-intercept form. And I see there's a typo there. Should be an R there, slope-intercept form. Alright, and so what we're going to do, this is another way that we can graph the equation. So we've looked at 2 ways already. One was to pick points, and that's where we picked a value for x and solve for y, or vice versa, like we did on test number 2. Then on the other video, part 1, we graphed using the x and y intercepts. Alright, and so for this video, we can graph using, if we have the slope and the intercept, we can graph using those 2 pieces of information. Alright, and the intercept is going to be the y-intercept that we have. Alright, so I can graph using those 2 pieces of information. Alright, so when I look at this equation, it says y equals -4x minus 3. So because it is already written in slope-intercept form, from this equation, I can know the slope and the y-intercept of my graph. Alright, and so slope would be the number that's in front of the x, and that happens to be a -4. And then my y-intercept is simply this number here at the end that has no letter associated with it, and that would be -3, or otherwise known as the point -3, 0. Alright, and so what I can do is go ahead and graph the y-intercept. We know from previous that it could be one of the points in our graph. It could be one of the solutions. Okay, so I'm going to go, I wrote that wrong. That should be 0, -3. This is the y-intercept, so it should be on the y-axis. X is always 0. So from the origin, I'm going to go down 3 and put me a dot. Alright, so I always want to graph the y-intercept first. And so I could just go to -3 or whatever that y value may be and put me a dot. Then I'm going to use the slope to get the other points. So remember, slope, we said earlier, is rise over run. And this top number is going to tell us going to tell us the up and down, and the run is going to tell us the left and the right. Alright, so if my slope is -4, alright, I got to have a run, since the whole number is understood to have that 1 under it. So what this is telling me is I can go left 4 and right 1 to get to my next point. Alright, so from my y-intercept, I'm going to go left 4 and that doesn't make sense, does it? Down. I'm going to get it together here shortly. Down 4 and right 1. So from my point, I'm going to go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to go right 1 and put me a dot. Alright, what it also means, alright, -4, I could also go up 4 and left 1. That would still get me a -4 value. That would be like 4 over -1. Alright, so from my y-intercept, I could go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then right 1 and put me a dot. Alright, and at that time, my point should be starting to line up pretty good. And you want to get at least 3 points. That'll give you a good graph. Alright. Alright, so now I have, it wants me to graph the line passing through the point -1, 5 and having a slope of -5, 3. So even though I don't have an equation, I do know that it passes through the point -1, 5. So I'm going to go left 1 and up 5. Alright, and my slope is -5 over 3, which is the same as 5 over -3. Alright, so from this point I can go down 5 and right 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, and put a dot. And then I can go down 5 more, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and right 3, 1, 2, 3. And I can keep doing that over and over until I get a sufficient number of plots. Alright, or I could have gone up 5 and left 3. So wherever your point's at, you can kind of try to decide which one has more space and go in that direction. Alright, so then I'm going to graph the points by connecting the dots here. Alright, so if I have a slope, let's just take a second here and look over this. If I have a slope where the top number is positive and the bottom number is positive, or maybe I have a positive whole number. Alright, this tells me from whatever point I'm at, whether it be my y-intercept or a given point, I'm going to go up and right, however many they tell me. Alright, then if I have a slope that's negative on top and positive on bottom, I'm going to go down however many it tells me, and right however many it tells me. And if I have a slope where the top number is positive and the bottom number is negative, I'm going to go up, and then I'll go left. Okay, then if I have a slope where the top number is negative and the bottom number is negative, then I'm going to go down that many and left this many to get to my next point. Alright, so remember that these two right here are kind of interchangeable. I could do this for a while, down and right for a while, and then I could go up and left for a while. So if I had a slope of, let's say, 3, alright, this is understood to be 3 over 1. So both values are positive. I'm going to go up 3 and right 1, up 3 and right 1. If I had a slope that was -4 over 5, alright, then I would go down 4, right 5, down 4, right 5. Alright, remember these two are interchangeable, so if I just move the negative around, I haven't changed the value of the slope, it's still a negative slope. Alright, but this time I would go up 4 and left 5, and I should still get a good graph. Alright, and so what if we had negative 4 over negative 5? Alright, I could go down 4, left 5, down 4, left 5. Notice this is the same thing as 4 over 5, alright, where I could go up 4 and right 5. Alright, so you can use them however you like, looking at the graph, deciding really which direction you have the most room to get enough coordinates in so that you can connect.